Hey everybody, my name is Brandon, and I'm here with another update on the what I have come to call the Sword Coast Virgins. This week was a shorter session. We played on Sunday. We're going to play again this Sunday, and this Sunday is probably going to be the last session because they are in the final dungeon. They have made their way to Wind Echo Cave, and after that, I think I get to wash my hands of being a dungeon master for now, and not forever, because I love this shit. And then my wife is going to take over for a while, and I think she's going to run like a really big adventure, like one of those big $50 hard books. I showed her how to navigate the DM's Guild the other day, and she spent the rest of the night looking through it, looking for different ideas. So I'm really excited about that. I already drafted out my character. I'm going to be a human monk, but that's the future, and we need to talk about now. Well, 4 days ago, now the past. What was the present, and is now the past. We pick up from where we left off last week in the middle of a fucking combat encounter. Not in the middle of a combat encounter, but in the middle of the Red Brand hideout. They had come upon this room with three bugbears that were guarding Gundren, the dwarf who had the map to get to Wind Echo Cave. The bugbears kind of did a number on them, and they decided that they needed to try to barricade the door to take a rest. And right before we called the session, I rolled and said, okay, when we come back, it's going to be initiative. And that's exactly where we picked up. We rolled initiative, I got the count, and I told them all that there's going to be one round before they bust into the room. It would take them one round to break through the barricades. And everyone was like, all right, that's cool, that's fine. And it was just three human red brands, and it really wasn't a problem, but they were really worried about it going into it. They're like, we don't have any spell slots, we don't have any real, health. But they ended up doing okay. In fact, Gruntsor, the dwarf barbarian cleric, just recently leveled up and was able to get his wild shape. And because of the druidic circle that he took, he gets that combat wild shape that allows him to take on a CR1 creature. So he was this giant hyena that just ripped these poor dudes to shreds and ended with one of them running out of the room and collapsing because he had already taken so much damage and was just so taken aback by the entire slaughter. After that, they decided they were going to do their original plan. They re-barricaded the door. They took the bodies of the bugbears and the humans and just put them in the door and used that, which is really disgusting. The problem is that I had to figure out a way to get Gundren out of the party because they had the idea that he was going to lead them to the cave, to the Lost Mine of Fandelver, and that would have been fine, except that they would have expected me to play Gundren. I didn't want to play a PC. I didn't want to play a dwarf. I didn't want to have more on my plate than I already had. So I had it that when they woke up, he had left and had kind of taken some bodies off of the top of the body pile door and escaped through there, leaving a map. From there, they took the map, they got back to Phandalin, they went to the Townmaster's Hall again for some reason. It's at this point that I think that really they're not super following the story, whether it's my fault or not. They don't really fully understand what's happening because they keep hearing words that the NPCs are talking about, like Drow and Black Spider and Iarno the Wizard. And they keep conflating all of these people and their kind of hierarchies and their roles in the story. So when they went back to the Townmaster's Hall where Sildar was, they kind of got really accusatory and started pointing swords at him and accusing him of some stuff. And I'm not totally sure why. I think they were trying to glean more information, but he didn't really have any more information. I thought I had made that clear. So after a while of just kind of spinning their wheels at the Townmaster's Hall, they decide that, okay, fuck this, we're just going to go to the cave. When they get to the cave, they instantly find the body of one of the other Rockseeker dwarf brothers. And they loot him, and Scoob, the Dragonborn warlock, ends up with the boots of, hang on, I don't remember what kind of boots they are. The boots of striding and springing. Your speed while you wear these boots becomes 30 feet. His was already 30 feet. Unless your walking speed is higher, and your speed is not reduced if you are encumbered or wearing heavy armor. In addition, whenever you can jump 3 times the normal distance. I'm not totally sure how jumping works. I've read up on it, but I didn't remember, and I told him that. I said, if we get to a place where we have to figure that out, I'll just look it up. But as of right now, don't worry about it. And he seemed okay with that. And luckily, we didn't come up to it. They immediately start exploring the cave, and they come into the first kind of big room of the actual cave, which is this kind of series of converging and randomly ending and connecting tunnels. There were old mining tunnels. And I was expecting this to be kind of more of a big deal than it was, but they kind of just got to the main pathway, in the center of the room and then just hauled ass to a door. Like they didn't explore any of the other caverns or anything, any of the other tunnels that ended, which means they avoided an encounter. They immediately burst into this next room, which was a barracks type of room where there are 3 ghouls hiding out. And this was a lot of fun because I think these were the hardest creatures that they had faced yet. And mind you, they skipped a bunch of shit. My players just didn't do a lot of the stuff that's in the adventure. So when they get to this point, they're actually a level behind where the adventure says they should be. So they're actually kind of getting their ass kicked, although they handled the ghouls pretty well, but they're definitely taking some damage. They chose not to rest because they don't know that they're a level behind where they should be in this cave, which proved to be something of a fatal mistake on their part. The next room, which was the old entrance to the cave, is occupied by 10 stirges. You know, those like skinless bat-like mosquito things that suck your blood and attach to you. Seems like it shouldn't be such a big deal, but the problem was kind of twofold. One, there was a lot of them. And 2, I wasn't really prepared or didn't have any really good ideas of how to run the encounter because we play on a grid. We play on a grid with minis on maps that I draw out. And all the minis that I have are old like TSR minis from the 80s that are like lead and halfway falling apart, and none of them are actually what they're supposed to be. They're all stand-in minis. So when these Stirges started attacking, I didn't really know how to figure out how to symbolize one getting attached to a player and how they were able to fly in and attack somebody and then fly out if they didn't hit. These Stirges did so much damage. 2 people fell in this encounter. Now, Stirges really aren't that difficult. They've got an AC 14, which I guess is kind of high, and they only have 2 hit points, but just the way that the map was structured in such a small, there were so small corridors and small chambers, and everyone kind of split up, that these 10 Stirges fucked my players up. It was nasty. It looked like it could have been a TPK at some point. But I have smart people in my group, and I have smart, fun people in my group, and I have 2 druids in my group, which means that they can use Thunder Wave. And that's exactly what happens. Scoob goes down almost instantly. Temerity goes down almost instantly. So it's just Mud, the half-orc druid, and Bruntsor, the dwarf druid barbarian. And they were able to take out like 3, sometimes 4 Stirges at a time each with their Thunder Wave attack. Everybody manages to get through the encounter without dying. They revive Scoob and Temerity. Forgot their names for a second. Unfortunately, though, there was one casualty. Rest in peace, Right Nut the wolf. Yeah, I don't think I ever told you that. They named their 2 wolf companions that they got way back in the first session, Right Nut and Left Nut. Left Nut's been dead for a while now, as has Lance, which was Scoob's wolf pet. But Right Nut had stuck around for a long time and did a lot of damage, and he fell to the Stirges. Rest in peace. From here, they make their way into this big cavern in the cave that has a bunch of mold and fungus growing all along the floor and on the rocks and on the stalagmites, and it's poison. And so it's supposed to be really dramatic, and I tried to make it super dramatic for everybody, and everyone has to make a constitution check when they go through, but they all passed, and it wasn't a big deal. Even when Mud, as a rat, was inspecting the room before everybody else, her rat form made the check, so nothing happened. Then they made it into another really big room where there was a building, a freestanding structure inside the cavern, and the doors were melted shut, and the hinges were melted, and there was like scratch marks on the wall, and Bruntsor immediately decides that he's going to just power through the door and just shoulder his way in like he's in fucking Bad Boys or some shit. And inside is a wraith, and the wraith was so much fun. First of all, it was a lot of fun for me to roleplay because I got to just point to the PCs a lot and go, "What are you doing in my domain?" Oh, that perspective is weird. Look how big my fucking hand is compared to my head. So the role-playing was a lot of fun, and they had never fought proper undead before, so they didn't know that physical damage only does half, like that wraiths and incorporeal beings are resistant to basically all types of damage, 90% of damage. But they were actually able to overcome this Wraith fairly easily for two reasons, I think. One, they had a Warlock in the party who had some kind of terrifying, awful spell that's psychic damage, and Wraiths are not resistant to psychic damage, so he ended up taking a lot from that spell. And two, the Wraith just didn't make any of his attack rolls. He just kept missing and missing and missing, and was unable to life drain any of the people in the party. And that was it. That was, like I said, it was a short session this last week. They had other things they had to do, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to end this Sunday. And that's a lot of fun. It's a little sad, but I've been going through some stuff personally lately, so it's okay for me to take some fucking work off my plate. And I can't wait to actually play, and maybe I'll keep doing these as first-time player instead of first-time DM. But I'm super happy about it. I can't wait, and this has been a lot of fun. I think what's going to happen after I finish this series is I'm going to do a review of the adventure itself of Lost Mine of Phandelver from the perspective of someone who's never run D&D before. And I think that should be a kind of an interesting critical exercise for me. So, but until then, bye-bye.